Hello, hello, it's Phil Thatch, and it's raining outside. You know what? It's actually not raining right now, but it's been raining all day long, and in about 20 minutes, it's going to start raining again. And so, with that in mind, I decided to go live. Let's see if I can find us here. Here we go. We are live. There we are. Looks like it's working. I've never gone live. This is United States Eastern Time, 2:21 p.m. Never gone live this time of day, so I don't know if anybody will be joining. Look, well, there's Ron Durant, but I pronounced his name wrong. No, I pronounced it right. I always mess up Ron's name. It's Ron Durant, but I used to pronounce it Ron Durant, and now sometimes when I say it the right way, I forget and think I'm saying it the wrong way. But anyway, hello, Ron. Thanks for joining. Yeah, that's me too. Ron says he's bored. I've been bored today too. I usually go and do photography early Sunday morning and try to put together a video, but it was just too rainy this morning to do that. I did have one thing to work on. I reviewed this Viltrox battery charger case for a video that will be out sometime in May probably. But anyway, this thing's awesome. Spoiler alert, this thing is fantastic. And Heather is knee deep in schoolwork, so I've got probably an hour at least before she gets caught up. So I figured I'd hang out with you guys. There is Tim Childers. Hello, new retired me. Good to see you. And Chris Spear, what's happening, Phil? Well, just trying to figure out something to do on this rainy day. He says, Ron says, I get your name wrong too. That's okay. Most people get my name wrong. Bill Sebastian joining the chat. Good to see you. I don't know what to talk about today, but I thought I would start with a new camera that Nikon just released. It looks fantastic. This is the Z5 II, and to me, this could have been called, if they didn't make the Z6 III with a partially stacked sensor, this could have been it, because this has the same sensor in it as a Z6 I and a Z6 II, and it's improved features over the Z6 I and the Z6 II, and you know, just really, really awesome. It's got the same feature set basically as the Nikon ZF, which my friend David Sailors has. Let's take a look at that. The ZF is the full frame retro camera. And it's got basically the same features as this camera, but it is a little bit cheaper and it has a bigger grip, and maybe for all around photography, maybe the Z5 II might be the better choice, but the ZF is super cool too. A couple things me of my Sony a6700 and my Z50 II. It does not have a battery charger in the box. So it says on this recommended accessories, this AC adapter to charge it with, it's got it listed as essential, which means there's no charger in that box. So that's a bummer, but that's another way to keep the price down. If you're like me, I bet I've got 10 chargers for the battery that this camera uses. It uses the EN-EL15C. So that looks really, really cool. And I think it's going to be a great camera. I'm not going to get one because I've got the Z8, and the Z8 is the stack sensor camera. So you just don't need a camera like this if you have a Z8. But anyway, it does look really, really good. 24 megapixel full frame camera. Pretty excited about that. Not for me, but for people. Let's see who else is here. Y Bell. Hello, Phil. Hello, Y Bell. And hello, Pepper. Hope you guys are doing well. I thought, you know, maybe going live this time of day, maybe people from other parts of the world might be able to join in. It's 7:25 p.m. right now in England, so normally, I imagine when I go live at about 9 o'clock our time, which it's now 2:25, people across the pond would not be able to join. So maybe I'll see some people that I don't normally see. Jacob Jurg is from the Netherlands. Hello, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Thanks for stopping in. What have you guys been doing? I've had a lot of stuff going on lately. I've been doing a lot of collaboration videos. Um, After Heather and I got back from Florida, which our first photography video from Florida came out yesterday, and it's getting some pretty good response. But after I came back, I met up with Double G, Garrett Gillette, excuse me. He was passing through. He lives in Illinois, and he was going to Florida, and he spent the night in Chattanooga, and he and I went to Snooper's Rock at sunrise and did some photography. So that was really cool, and we'll both have videos about that coming out. And let's see, Wednesday night, I was going to go live Wednesday night because I was bored. And then I looked at my computer and David Sailors had gone live. So I said, well, instead of going live, I'll just watch David's live stream. And that was a lot of fun. And he mentioned that he was about to go do some photography in downtown Chattanooga the following morning and asked if anybody wanted to join. And I said, I do. I want to join. So I did a collaboration video with David. That was a lot of fun. He shot with his ZF and I shot with my Z8. And I got out of my comfort zone, and instead of using a zoom lens or a long focal length for my street photography, I used the 50 millimeter 1.8 Z lens, and man, that lens is awesome. Had a lot of fun with David. He used his ZF, and I had just reviewed the Viltrox 50 millimeter f2, and I brought that, and he used it that day. So that was a lot of fun. Man, that video, I got carried away when I made that video. It is 21 minutes long, but usually I hang around just right around Market Street and 8th Street in Chattanooga. And you know, Market Street and 8th Street that's my favorite area, and I'll go maybe 2 or 3 blocks in each direction from there. But David and I started all the way on Main Street, which is maybe 15 or 16 blocks from the river, and we walked all the way down to 4th Street, and not just straight, we were zigzagging around and came back. So a lot of subjects that I don't normally see, I was able to photograph. So that was a lot of fun. That video, I think, comes out in early May, and pretty excited about that one. Let's catch up on the comments. Taro is in Finland, and it's 9:26 or 21:26. Awesome. David zigzags a lot, Ron says. Well, you know, we were, I think some of it may have been my fault. We were walking down in front of Warehouse Row, which I made a photograph of Warehouse Row that I'm really pleased with. It's going to be in that video. There were some fantastic clouds Thursday. As a matter of fact, Tim Childers, new retired me who was on here, he was in Red Bank on Thursday using his monochrome Leica camera and made a photograph. I think it's of Red Bank Baptist Church, which may be where my sister goes to church. He made a photograph of it, and it was just really, really beautiful. The way the light and the clouds were in Chattanooga on Thursday was pretty cool. But when we walked past Warehouse Row, I said, hey, let's go through there. And so that zigzag was my fault. And we ended up zigging quite a long way before we zagged back. So that was fun. Let's see. Chris Spear, has anyone here thought about getting the 135 Viltrox? Well, I have begged and pleaded for the 135 Viltrox. They love to send me inexpensive lenses, and I appreciate it to review. But you know, when they make a $900 lens, they didn't offer me to review it, which I was kind of sad about. But I would love to review it. I'm sure that it's 2 things. I'm sure it's pretty good, because all Viltrox lenses are pretty good, and that one is, you know, a more expensive one, so I'm sure it's bordering on very good. And then it's probably not as good as the Plena. You know, Nikon made the Plena, and it's a lens so exotic that they put a signature on it. They only have 2 Z-series lenses with a signature name, like the Plena and the Noct. And that lens is supposed to be optically flawless. So it's probably not as good as that, but it also costs well under half as much. So, man, I would love to, hey, Viltrox rep, I still want one. I know you said you can't send me one, but I still want to review one. So if you're watching this, send me one. Let's see. That was Chris Spear who said that. David says, greetings from Spain, waiting for my new Z600 PF. Your good experience ended up convincing me. Fantastic, man. I hope you enjoy it. That lens is so awesome. So awesome. Super sharp, super light. Autofocus is quick. It's, you know, maybe the only thing about it that's not great is the minimum focus distance, but it's not terrible. You know, it has a minimum focus distance like a prime, which typically is longer than a zoom. But a lot of times the reason a zoom will have a closer minimum focus distance than a big telephoto prime is because a zoom lens will focus breathe. So if you're on a like a 180 to 600, for example, and you're at 600, but you're focusing on something really close, the focus breathing makes it where you're probably not really at 600 millimeters, where with the 600 PF, if you're at 600 millimeters, you're really at 600 millimeters or very close to it. It probably focus breathes a tiny amount. I haven't really measured it, but anyway, not as much as a zoom. So anyway, David, hope you enjoy that. Michael Anderson says, no audio problem for me. Fantastic. Michael, are you the one who pointed out that I had some audio problems with my last live stream? I can't remember who it was. It may have been you, Michael, but last time I had a little bit of clipping in my audio. And the reason I had my audio so hot is because it seems like my audio on my live streams is soft. So I don't know if somebody else said that they were having audio problems. Everybody chime in and tell me how your audio is. But anyway, on my last live stream where I talked about the Sigma BF, which I still want one, but I'm not going to get one, the audio was not great. And I had my level pretty high, almost to the end of the red, or pretty close to the end of the red. Just trying to make the volume loud so that if an ad comes in, although I had the ads turned off, if an ad comes in, the ad doesn't blow your hair back like you're in one of those old Maxwell or Maxell cassette ads. You guys remember those Maxell cassette ads where the guy's sitting in a chair with a speaker in front of him and his hair is blowing back and his drink's falling over? The 80s and 90s. Let's see, what do we got now? My next is the Z5 II and the Z180-600. Well, it should have, you know, the Z5 II does have bird eye detect autofocus, unlike the Z6 III, which is crazy. That camera should have that. They've had it out for a while. Why didn't they put it in that camera? Rhonda Ront says, okay, must be me then. I don't know what. Oh, is anyone else having the stream cutting out on the audio? And I see now. I totally missed your comment, Ron. I apologize. Yeah, I hope it's just you, Ron. Let me turn mine on. I've got us right here, and let's see. Let's see. Check one, 1. Check one, 1. I think it's okay. I think it's okay, or at least on my end. How does the Viltrox 50 f2 compare to the Nikon 50 1.8 in your usage? Well, they're both really, really good, but the Nikon 50mm 1.8S, there's a reason that thing costs as much as it does. It's almost optically flawless. And the Viltrox 50mm f2 is optically very, very good. Value for money, the Viltrox blows it away because it's $199, and the Nikon is some amount that I can't remember, but I'll pull it up. Z50 1.8. $626. So it's $427 more expensive. And you know, it's like when you're building a race car. You can get pretty fast for a reasonable amount of money, but if you want to get elite fast, you got to spend a whole lot of money. It's just the same with a lens, I guess. Except we're talking about overall optical perfection. The guy, I don't know his name, but he's 3 blind men and an elephant. He's got the silver hair that pokes straight up. He talked about the Nikon Z 50mm 1.8S. And he said it's basically as good as his Leica 50mm f2, which costs $4,000. So that's how good that lens is. And the Viltrox 50mm f2, while very, very good, is not that good. So anyway, I really enjoyed shooting with the 50, but I was hampered, you know, 2 or 3 times I wish I had a wider lens, and multiple times I wish I had a longer lens. I think my next time I go out doing street photography, I'm going to carry my new 24 to 120 f4 lens and see how that does for street photography. I think it may be really good for that. Let's see. Okay, we got some more audio comments. It's a little low but clear, Joe says, and it's low there too. See, and I'm still, my meter is all the way up in the yellow when I'm talking, and if I talk loud for a second, it rips into the red. So any louder and it will be distorted. So I think if I have to err on it's a little soft or it's distorted, I'm gonna stick with it's a little soft. So sorry about that. I really honestly don't know how to make it any better, because if I make it louder, it starts to distort. Let's see here. Pepper says, all good. Ron says, Michael Anderson heading to the Cove in 2 weeks. Awesome. A little low but clear, low here too. Maybe I'll see you there. Hope you have fun at Cades Cove. I haven't been in a long time, but now that they've passed that law, which they did actually at the end of last year, where it's back to where it's not against the rules for YouTubers to make content in national parks, I need to go back. Pulling the camper for a week's stay. Wow, that'll be awesome. Make lots of videos. Make lots and lots of videos. Look forward to seeing that. Let's see. Ismail is from Chile. That's awesome. Hello there. Ron says the Nikon 51.8 is a really good lens on full frame Nikons. He does not like, if I remember correctly, Ron does not like it on his Z50. Not because the image quality is bad, he just doesn't like the 75mm full frame equivalent focal length. Here in Finland, the Z5 II costs $19.90. Are we going to see camera prices increase from the tariffs? I don't know. I don't know for sure about that. I tell you what I do know, seeing as how I work in the car business. I work at a dealership that sells Mazda, and I don't have an announcement for them, but we also sell new Hyundais. And Hyundai has decided to eat the tariff, in other words, to not pass the tariff on to the American public, at least through June the 2nd, which is the end of that. June the 2nd is the close of business for their for their May, because the last day of May is on a weekend and they never close their month on a weekend. They always carry it over to the following Monday, or Tuesday if the following Monday is a holiday. So who knows what they're going to do after that. And I feel like, you know, if they do decide to eat the tariffs, they'll pull back rebates. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe Trump will flinch and and get rid of the tariffs before it becomes an issue, but I have a feeling he won't. But he has in the past. Are we going to see product launch delays while vendors drop back and punt? Yes, I saw a video. I can't remember the guy's name. Ordinary Filmmaker maybe is the name of his channel, and he said he had heard from his sources that a lot of new products will be delayed. Z9 II, Z7, R7 II, and others might be that were in the pipeline to be maybe this year, maybe they won't be, but who knows. Do you have any good wildlife prime lenses to recommend for my Canon R5? I currently own the 100-500 for my Canon R5, but I'm in need of a better wildlife lens in lower light. Well, I was going to, until you said lower light, I was going to recommend the 800 f11, but that lens is garbage in low light. Really, Canon doesn't have anything that's inexpensive. You could get a used 400 f4DO, I think. Let's see here, hang on. MPB. This is a lens that you would have to adapt. And of course, I think probably everything I'm going to recommend to you that's at a reasonable, less than $10,000 price tag is going to be something you have to adapt. Okay, so this is the 400DO. A friend of mine, professional wildlife photographer named Donna Borden, has one of these, and she adapts it to her R5 and now to her R5 Mark II, and she swears by it. And here you can get a used one in like new condition for $17.99, and then of course you'll have to put the adapter on there, which is $99 more. But this lens is small, it's light, it's relatively fast at f4. The DO, diffractive optics, is kind of Nikon's version of PF, phase frontal, that Nikon, or Canon's version, excuse me, of Nikon's PF lenses. It's not quite as small as the Nikon PFs, but it is pretty small. And then of course you could also look at a 500 f4 used, a Canon 500 f4. You can get a used one for $2,000, and that lens is not light, but it is a good telephoto lens for a pretty reasonable amount of money. Of course, the holy grail of bird photography lenses is a 600 f4, and they are still, that's not bad, really. I think the version 2 is supposed to be the best one from Canon. The IS2, I think, is the best one, and it doesn't look like they have a 2. But anyway, there's a lot of choices. But as far as a brand new telephoto prime for low light, you didn't say at a reasonable price, but I'm assuming you meant at a reasonable price. If not at a reasonable price, then get an RF 600 f4 for $12,000, or however much it is. Let's see how much that is. Missed it by that much, $12,999. There is a super good super telephoto that I'm sure you'd be happy with until it comes time to pay for it. All right, probably behind on comments. Taking the e-bike so I can go in at night and try to do some astro. Oh, that will be cool. They let you bicycle into the cove. I know they don't let you drive into the cove until they open the gate at sunrise. I didn't know you could. I didn't know you could bicycle in. That would be awesome. Hyundai has a factory in Montgomery, Alabama area, but I don't know what models are made there. They make the Sonata there. They also have a factory in Georgia, I think West Point, Georgia, maybe. But even those, you know, if they tariff not just from where the car is made, but also where the parts to build the car is made, then, you know, even the ones that are made in Montgomery, Alabama, and in Georgia, a lot of the parts come from overseas. So anyway, it's going to be tough. Pepper says, we will see good prices for used equipment if you're looking to sell some of your camera gear. Yeah, that's true. The prices for used cameras should go up, which is not good if you're wanting to buy used gear, but if you're wanting to get rid of some stuff, the next few months might be a good time. Yeah, the 600 f4 is heavy. I don't recommend trying to handhold it. Simeon Bennett, thanks for your help. You're very welcome. Do you happen to still shoot DSLRs? I shot some portraits today, excuse me, on my D4 and the old 85 1.4D, and still love the colors and rendering, but I suffer from gas as well, no worries. Well, I've done a lot of videos. I've got a whole series of videos I've done lately with my new used D850. I've actually had my D850 for less amount of time than I've had my Z8. A fellow that I know who takes very good care of his equipment finally replaced his D850, low shutter count, perfect condition, with a Z8, and he made me a real good, nearly wholesale deal on it. And man, I have been really enjoying that camera. I've taken it out for bird photography once, and it did well. You know, it It did great, and when it was the latest and greatest, it did great at bird photography. But what I'm really enjoying that camera for is landscape photography. And whenever I do my inspired by Nick Carver videos, I usually use that camera. Don't feel bad if you haven't seen it. Nobody watches those videos, but I sure do enjoy making them. All right, let's see. Where are we at? You can hike and bike in at night. That is awesome. That is really, really awesome. How far are you going to go before you set your tripod up for your Astro? You're going to go down to, what's it, Heights Lane that has the cool trees on it that you could use as a foreground interest? That sounds awesome. All right, Jacob says D850 is great indeed. I agree. So I'm caught up, and let's look at something else. Here is the R7 Mark II. Now, the last time I did, I looked at Canon rumors to get information about the R7 Mark II. They were saying it was going to have a stack sensor, and these new rumors don't say a stack sensor. They do say a faster sensor and maybe no mechanical shutter, which, you know, that makes you think it's a stack sensor. But they also are saying, where is it? They're saying a resolution bump to about 40 megapixels, and 40 megapixels on a 1.6 crop APS-C sensor would be just ridiculous, ridiculous pixel density. Let's do the formula. Let's say it's 39.5, because that's about 40. What is 39.5 times 1.6 squared?
It's approximately 101.12.
So that camera, if it is 39.5 megapixels, it would have the same pixel density as a full frame camera with 101 megapixels. That's pretty crazy. But if they were able to make a fast or even relatively fast stacked sensor with that pixel density, man, oh man, what a bird photography rig you'd have using the 100 to 500 in that lens. Super cool. Now they're also talking about it being a larger body, maybe even exactly the same form factor as an R5 II, and making it upscale as a premium camera, which is what we wanted the whole time. That's what we want. We want Nikon to make a Z90, a premium APS-C camera. We want Canon to make a premium APS-C camera. Us bird photographers, that is. Everybody else is like, Phil, what in the world are you talking about? But people who do bird photography, they have to crop if you're taking pictures of small birds. Now, I was spoiled when I was in Florida a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't having to crop that much, and I had to take my 600 off and put my 100 to 400 on because I was so close to big birds. But around here, you're a long way away from little bitty birds, so you got to crop a lot. So the more pixel density you have, the better. And an APS-C camera often has a higher pixel density, not a higher maximum resolution, but a higher pixel density than a full frame camera. So anyway, this R7 II, if it does have 39.5 megapixels, a premium body, and a stack sensor, what? Sign me up. Where I put the 25% tariff on it. I don't care. I'll pay it. Give me that camera. Let's see. Michael Anderson says, got a friend to get a D850, one of the best DSLR ever made. I call it the best DSLR ever made. My other thing that I call it is the last great DSLR. She can reuse all her lenses. Yeah, see, that was me. I already had the 14 to 24 2.8, already had the 24 to 70 2.8, the 70 to 200 2.8. I did sell my 500 f4 that I used to have, but I've got the 200 to 500. So, and I sold my 105 macro lens, which I really regret. And I sold my 1.7 teleconverter and my 2.0 teleconverter. I still have my 1.4. So when I bought that D850, the only lens I bought, and I bought a used one, I bought the 16 to 35 f4 just because I wanted an ultra wide that I didn't have to put, that I could run my 77 millimeter filters on, and that 16 to 35 worked perfect for that. So anyway, I think I might have my D850 kit right here in one of my mini bags. So yeah, here's the D850 with the 24 to 70 And the last time I took it out, I took the 14 to 24 2.8 with its bulbous front element. The original awesome ultra wide was this lens. Now everybody's got one, but the first company to make a really great ultra wide was Nikon with this lens. And then there's the 24 to 70 2.8G, fantastic lens. This is what this is the kit that I took to Snooper's Rock with Garrick Gillette on the Sunday of our vacation week when we got back from Florida. Man, that is, but I'll tell you what, that is heavy. Those 3 lenses and a D850, that weighs a metric ton. Let's see. Pepper says he loves the Z105 macro. I may get that at some point. I reviewed a, what did I review? I reviewed a TT Artisan 2X macro lens, all manual, and it was so good and twice the magnification of the Nikon. I may not buy that Nikon lens. You know, one thing that's neat about the current Canon macro lens is it's 1.4 to 1, where most first-party macro lenses are 1 to 1, like the Nikon one is. And if you're taking pictures of something super small, really you need more than 1 to 1. So anyway, I don't know. I may not even do macro this year. I may do butterflies and bees and use my Nikon 100 to 400. I don't know. I think I only did like maybe 6 macro videos last year during macro season. So I haven't decided. Who knows? I know macro season has already started, and one year I did a thing, I called it Tiny. I made a video and I called it Tiny Flower Macros. And in the spring, my yard is full of these beautiful little purple and white violets with the purple stripes on them, and they're tiny. And once you mow them down, they don't come back. And I've already mowed them, so I won't be making that video this year. But I've just been so busy with that Florida trip was a huge thing. And then today, I really, you know, it's kind of warbler season now is starting. And I could have gone and done warblers Thursday, but I had that opportunity to go shoot with David, and I didn't want to pass that up. And then today I could have gone and tried to find warblers, but it rained. So here we are. But maybe this coming Thursday I'll try to find some warblers. I know for a fact that the white-eye Vero is back, and I have better luck with them getting them to pose for me in early spring than I do later in the summer. They're here all summer, but I usually struggle getting them to land near me unless it's early spring. Let's see what else we got going on here. I bought the old Nikkor 24 to 70 2.8, not the VR version. That's the version I have, not the VR version. After seeing your old video, by the way, thanks for that. You're very welcome. I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. It works great on my ZF with adapter. Cool. Let's see. Shubhankar, I think, is how to pronounce that. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. I can't even pronounce Ron's last name. How is the Z5 Mark II for wildlife photography? Same sensor as the ZF. Is it good? Well, to me, really, for wildlife photography, you would either want a high megapixel full frame camera or an APS-C camera. Both of those will give you higher pixel density. So assuming you can get away without the high pixel density, then it should be great for wildlife. Now it doesn't have a stack sensor, so you'll need to use the mechanical shutter for birds in flight. But if you can get close enough to fill the frame on full frame, then it should be great because it has the latest Nikon autofocus algorithms. It does have bird and animal eye detect, so it should be dynamite. Just like the ZF should be dynamite, with the same caveat of it's not a high pixel density sensor. I totally missed David Sailors. Hello, David. Long time no see. How you been? Thanks for going on a photo walk with me or letting me tag along on yours and taking me places that I don't normally go. That was super cool. He says, I got to see it live for a little bit. That's cool. And David also says, hello, Jacob. And Ron says, David! Hey, Ron. Cool. Let's see. What else do I have to talk about? Now that David's in here, I'm going to show him this. I talked to David about this while we were on our photo walk, but now that I've got him as a captive audience. So David, this is that Sigma BF camera that I'm crazy about with no EVF and no hot shoe, and it's electronic shutter only, and it doesn't have a fast enough sensor to do that. It has, here's the strap mount on one side but not on the other. The other side has nothing but a USB-C port. But the thing that I wanted to point out, David, and anybody else about this camera is, David, you already own, and so do I, the sensor in this camera, because this Sigma BF has the same backside illuminated 24 megapixel sensor that's in the Z6, the Z6 II, the ZF, the Z5 II, and the Sigma BF. They all have the same sensor. It's sourced from Sony. So I thought that was cool. The camera I'm totally lusting after. I've got the sensor in my old beat up, I've had it since 2018, Z6 original that's over there in the cabinet. So there you have it. But man, that thing sure is pretty. There's what the aluminum looks like after it's milled on the machine before they put the guts in it. So cool. And really nice image quality, as you know, seeing as how David and several others of you, I'm sure, have a camera with the same sensor. There's a donkey. Let's see. Catching back up again. Good afternoon. Thanks for coming with me. My pleasure. ZF is great for wildlife because of the great low light performance. Oh, that's a very good point. Goes right back to that sensor. Little songbirds ain't great though, since it's only 24 megapixels. My Nikon ZF does wildlife very well here in South Carolina, especially gators. Very cool. True. David says, that is the epitome of minimalism. How much is the Sigma, Ron asked? And the answer is $19.99. And it's available in, let me go back. $19.99. It's available in silver, or you can get that chunk of aluminum in an anodized black version. Apparently this version shows fingerprints a lot, just like if you get a dark colored Apple laptop, it'll show fingerprints a lot. But the silver one apparently doesn't have that problem. And then, let's, while we're digging into this, it also has all these lenses. There's a 35 f2, there's a 17 f4, a 20, and all these are done in silver to match the camera. And really, really high quality looking, and nice image quality too. There's a 17 f4, a 20 f2, a 24 f2, a 24 3.5 that has a much closer minimum focus distance than the f2, a 35 f2, which is, if I would get the camera, I would want the 35 f2. Then there's a 45 2.8 that has a really close minimum focus distance, a 50 f2, a 65 f2, and a 90 2.8 that is supposed to be super tiny, super sharp. I would probably want the 35 and the 90 for mine if I was to get one. And the price on those lenses, they're all like between $550 and $699. So anyway, a lot of money to get a camera that really wouldn't serve my purposes. While David and I were out on our photo walk, you know, that thing doesn't have an EVF, so you have to hold it out and look at the rear screen to shoot. And I said, you know what, I'm going to use my Z8 and hold it out and shoot that way with it a little bit. And it was an overcast day. I would go as far as to say mostly cloudy. Every once in a while the sun would peek through a little bit. perfect light, really. I really enjoyed that day. That light was dynamite that day. But anyway, I couldn't see the rear screen. You know, if it was at night, I could see the rear screen, but it wasn't at night. It was during the day, but I wouldn't call it broad daylight because it was mostly overcast. But even in that situation, I couldn't see the screen. So the only way you can shoot with the Sigma BF is holding it out and looking at the screen. That's not going to work. I think they need to make a BF2 and add an EVF and a faster sensor, because that sensor is beautiful. The backside illuminated sensor, 24 megapixel, that's in the Z6 and the Z6 II and the Z5 II and the ZF. And I think there's some Sony cameras that use it as well. Beautiful results from that sensor, but it has a slow readout speed. And the Sigma BF does not have a mechanical shutter. Now, if you have a fast readout speed, super fast, like the Z8 has, you can get away with not having with not having a mechanical shutter, because the readout speed is so fast that you don't get rolling shutter distortion. But the sensor in all those cameras that I mentioned is not fast enough to not have rolling shutter problems. And like if you're shooting under LED lights, you're going to have banding because the sensor readout speed is not fast enough. So anyway, there's some problems. So put a faster sensor in it, put an EVF on it, call it the BF2, and I'll buy it. But right now it's just, I mean, I really, really like the idea of it. It's an L-mount camera, and I could hang out with my buddy David and maybe say, here, you want to try this Sigma lens? And he'll say, sure. You want to try this Leica lens? And I'm like, don't mind if I do. Let me put that on my BF2. But anyway, more realistically, I love the Nikon Z8. It's my favorite camera ever made. But I do find myself being really interested in this crazy Sigma camera. This crazy chunk of aluminum. Isn't it something? Well, I didn't think I was going to spend all day talking about the BF. I've already done a live stream about it, but turns out I talked about it a lot. Let's see, how much Sigma? Tim should want the BF. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Tim got one day. But I think Tim is really happy, assuming we're talking about the same Tim. I think Tim's really happy with his monochrome Leica, and he struggled with it at first, but he's really getting the hang of it now. Man, that picture of Red Bank Baptist Church that he posted was good. I wonder if I can bring that up. I wonder if I can bring that up. This is it. Okay, so this was the same day that David and I did our photo walk, I'm pretty sure. And I think this is Red Bank Baptist Church, where my sister goes to church, or maybe she used to go to church there. I'm not sure if she's changed, but she used to go to church there for sure. And man, like I say, Tim is definitely getting the hang of that camera. Isn't that a beautiful photograph? Way to go, Tim. I don't know if you're still in here, but if you're not, I bet your ears are burning because I'm bragging on your picture. Very cool. Well, what else is going on? What have you guys been shooting? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do Thursday. Probably try to find warblers. Probably try to find warblers on the little gravel road that leads to the Summit Knobs Equestrian Trail. Ron has been working the Z52. Ron, did you get that power zoom yet, or are you still thinking about it? I'll show you the lens that Ron's been thinking about, or I'll try to. Oh, that thing starts at 12. I was thinking it started at 10 millimeters. It starts at 12. No wonder I can't find it. I still can't find it. There it is, 12 to 28. This is the lens that Ron's been considering for his Z50. And he got it. Woohoo! Ron's got that lens. Man, that's going to be awesome. Because Ron when he did a photo walk with David, he found that he needed something wider. And this is the ticket for that. And it looks like it'll be plenty sharp. And Ron doesn't shoot crazy wide aperture, so 3.5 to 5.6 will be fine. Plus it's got vibration reduction, which the Z5 II doesn't have IBIS, so that is going to work well. Northern Lights, Marcus says. That's awesome. You know, I don't know where you're at, Marcus, but we had Northern Lights here that we could see here in, Tennessee a while back. So, crazy. I wish I had taken more time to shoot them. Astrophotography is hard for me because it happens past my bedtime. So, and I've always got to go to work the next morning, so it's tough for me. Maybe I'll get better at it when I retire, but I have this feeling 3.5 years older when I am, I'll probably be even less likely to want to be up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Who knows? Let's see. David says, I did another photo walk yesterday, and they have a rodeo at the pavilion next to the soccer stadium. Got some photo. They had a, wow, at, where is it? First Horizon Pavilion had a rodeo inside it. That must have been a lot of work getting all that dirt in there. Enough dirt to do a rodeo. That's cool. I would love to have seen that. They had a hot slaw festival in Cleveland yesterday, and a band that I like who won the Road to Nightfall competition several years back played there. I would have liked to have gone to that, and I was in Cleveland, but I was at work. David is jelly of the Northern Lights, I'm guessing. Ron says 67 millimeter filter. I love that. Love that. 67 and 77 are my two favorite filter sizes. And David says, yes, dirt and all. That is cool. That is cool. I would love to have gone to that. You'll have to, have you posted any pictures of it on Instagram yet, David? Maybe David's going to do a video about it. Oh, I'll tell you what I'll do while we're kind of at a stopping point. Let's see if I can find. I'll give y'all a sneak peek from the video on the photo walk with David, if I can find it. I got two. I got two of them I'll share with you. All right, so me and David are on the photo walk, and I've got the Z8 and the 51.8, and we walked past this perfectly symmetrical looking set of stairs, and I said, David, you mind going up there and standing right there? And David was like, nope, no problem. Go, and up he goes. Good sport was David, and I made this shot of him, and I think this, of all the shots where I tried to get everything perfectly symmetrical, I think this may be the best one I've ever made. The only problem with this shot in terms of symmetrical, look, exactly the same distance here and here. The red sign matches on both sides. This little vent or whatever it is perfectly matches on both sides. There's two problems with it, and both of them are the building. This garbage can has a lid, and this garbage can that is exactly the same kind on the other side doesn't have a lid. And this light's burning, and this light is either off or burnt out. David's dead center in the middle. Anyway, that just, you know, sometimes you try to make a shot like that and it just doesn't work. But this particular time it works. So there's one sneak peek from the Phil Tags Along with David photo walk video. That's my picture of Moraine Lake that I took while Heather and I were there during our honeymoon. And I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys watch David's channel, but David takes a picture of this hotel that they're building in downtown Chattanooga every week. And he has a certain place that he stands and a certain focal length that he uses. So it's always the same. And this is where David stands. This is in the middle of Broad Street. And I made this with the 50 millimeter 1.8 wide open at 1.8. And David was vlogging right there, and he's got the, you can see he's got the ZF hanging from that strap, and that's the Viltrox 50 F2 on there. So anyway, make sure to tune in to David's channel on, I think, May the 3rd, and see what he was saying when he was recording this bit to camera. Moraine Lake. Let's see, Marcus says, I'm spoiled. I live in northern Sweden, and we have been a good season for Northern Lights. That is awesome. That is fantastic. David says, not yet. Ron says, have a good evening, everyone. Got to run. Supper is ready. Enjoy your dinner. Save some for me. See you later, Ron. Wednesday night, be there or be square. I'm not sure what he's talking about when he says that. Oh, yes, Wednesday night is the live stream, the photography roundtable live stream that Ron's going to be hosting on his channel. Yeah, definitely want to check that out. It's going to be, let's see if I can remember everybody. I'm not sure if everybody's going to show up, but here's who's invited. Or you know what? Maybe I should not say. Let's let that be a surprise. But there's everybody from the last one, plus another guy who lives in California is invited. Hopefully he'll join us. So yeah, make sure to check out, what's Ron's channel called now? It's not called Ron to Ron anymore. It's called Photography Adventures. And I can't remember what time that's going to be. 7? I think it's 7. 7 o'clock Eastern, I think. See you later, Jacob. Ah, there you go. His channel is at ron.durant. Durant. I say his name wrong every time. I don't say his name wrong every time. I say his name wrong half the time. And I think I'm saying it wrong the other half. So I say it wrong every time. All right. Well, it looks like we've kind of come to an end of things to talk about. And Heather's probably almost done with her homework. So she and I are probably going to watch some TV and stuff. But it was definitely fun to do a live stream at a different time of day and hang out with you folks. Make sure to tune in to Ron's live stream Wednesday. And thanks for watching. As David would say, get your camera out and take a picture. I can say that because David's in here. I got to figure out how to stop this thing.